Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome to the show, the first one of 2020. It is so hard to believe that it is the beginning of the new decade, beginning of a new year, and for many people, this is the first full work week of the new year for them, or they may have just been coming back to work. And I am excited today for so many reasons with the idea of all the possibilities of what can happen psychologically for people when they think about beginning of a new year and a new decade. So I wanted to start out this new year talking about something that is probably one of the biggest issues that so many people keep asking me. They ask me question after question after question around the topic, around publishing, around books. Everybody seems to want to write a book. After they write a book, they're like, well, how do I get the book published? How do I sell it? Or a very frequent question, Laura, I wrote a book, my publisher did nothing, and the book's not selling. I mean, I sold 10, and that was to my family. So today I am so honored to have as a guest on my show today for the first show of the new decade, my friend, my literary agent, Michael Ebeling, founder of the Ebeling Agency. He has sold books to every major publisher. He's worked with Neil Donald Walsh, Deepak Chopra, Dr. Michael Murray, Alan Cohen, and yours truly, myself. I'm excited to say he is stepping big time back into helping authors market their books, sell their books, hit lists, but beyond that, make a living with their message of their books. So, Michael, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Laura. I really appreciate it, and I'm honored to be on your show starting out the new year, and we go way back. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and before the show started, we were talking about the moment we first met and all of that wonderfulness that arrived with that. And I want to say, to start out, congratulations. You just got engaged.
Oh, yes. Thank you. It's a great joy, and actually it's truly... my fiance really is the secret sauce behind all of the shift in how the publishing world is being approached and how authors are making lots of money and building their businesses with their books as tools these days. And she has really synthesized all of this together with some of the work we've been doing together. So it's a win across the board because she's an amazing woman. I'm very lucky, and she's very, very smart in the world of the online world. So
sounds like we should have had her on the show too.
Well, it's certainly my message, but she's figured out a way to really help authors succeed, and we've had some amazing success stories. And people are just getting great traction out there with their books these days, and so feel very fortunate to have a marriage on a lot of levels.
I think that is so powerful because if we don't have that support in our family and our friendships, everything seems to be a little more empty and a little bit harder to do in the world today. And you have that support, and you've been that support for so many people.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful union in terms of being able to blend as you said, your personal life and your business life, and from my perspective, ultimately to empower authors to be able to go out there and spread their message. It's a very, very complicated world for authors, as you said in the preface there, and how challenging it can really be to go out there. Most authors think, okay, well, I just spent the last 2 or 3 years, I've written my book. Okay, now I'm just going to get picked up by a publisher, and everything's going to work out. I'm going to be famous, and I'm going to be on Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, and my book's going to sell tons of books, and I'm going to be rich. And little do they know that their job just started, and there's so much work ahead of them, especially if they are choosing the traditional route of publishing with traditional publishers, because the next step is to find the agent, and that's a very, very excruciating process. It can take months, if not years. They have to write a very big book proposal. It's like a business proposal for their book. It can be 30 or 40 pages as a book proposal, and then it also has your sample chapters in there and all the competitive analysis. It's a big build, and that's just after they finished their book, and now they go out to look for an agent, and then they send out query letters with the book proposal attached, and it can be very painful experience because agents are rather ruthless, and publishers are the same, because they're expecting authors to have these big commercially viable, what they call platforms. And it's difficult because authors have spent most of their time writing the book and now writing the book proposal, but they have not been focused on the marketing aspect. And these publishers and agents want the author to have books or to have platforms that are already established. Big email list, big following on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, those types of things, national media, regional media, speaking engagements. They want everything in place so that they can feel confident if they publish the book that they will break even or make money. And the publishing industry is really quite a competitive space. It's becoming more and more of that these days because Amazon has 70% of the book sales. The book stores are shrinking, and with all the e-formats, it's a very, very competitive space. So this process of becoming an author in the traditional sense has become very, very difficult, and so that's why we've come up with a way to basically use these books as tools and fulcrums to help authors build their message, build their list, build their following, and make a lot of money.
I find it fascinating because I hear people all the time. I get this question all the time. Laura, you got an agent, you got a publisher, you hit the top of the list, you won book awards. I just want to do that, and my publisher is going to help me do that once I finally get a deal. And you just talked about, Michael, this process. The book proposals, the query letters, and all that. But a lot of people now are like, well, I can just self-publish, and it's sort of like the movie Field of Dreams. They feel like if they publish, they will come. And I feel like there's this naivete in not only in book marketing and authorship, but everybody just seems like I start a business and everybody's just going to want what I'm selling.
Yeah, it's a really great point, Laura. The situation is when you think about what it took a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA to actually become a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA. It's years and years of study. It's very expensive. It's a ton of time. I mean, we're talking, for some of those professions, hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's testing and accreditation associations, and then, even to, if you will, open up a yogurt shop, you have a huge infrastructure build. You have to have all your machines, your employees, your leases, and all of those things. And being an author, treating the author as a business is what authors really have to look at, because I just know so many authors who have spent so much money, just right out of the gate. I mean, an author will drop $12,000 to $15,000 on a PR firm, when their book comes out, and the needle doesn't move, at all, very much or at all for those authors. They'll get into marketing programs. They'll run around chasing these books down these dark rabbit holes, and they have to be very, very careful about how they treat their business as an author and their book, because when you look at the whole paradigm or the whole business model, your book is truly the lowest margin tool in your tool bag. You make $1.50 to $2.50, a book on a book royalty, you have to sell a lot of books to make a real living, and you have to do that every month, and you're going to be doing that most likely all by yourself. The publishers really aren't going to give you, much help in the marketing aspects of your book. They'll package it, they'll put it together, they'll get it in the bookstores, but it's up to you to drive traffic, and that will be pretty much with any model in today's world. Now, if you're a very high-profile author and you have a lot of media, the publisher is going to pay attention to you. They, the top 2 or 3% of their books, they do put marketing dollars in, but the remainder of the authors out there really are what they call, catalog stuffers. And it's to make sure that their catalogs look relevant in the spring and the summer and the fall editions, but they don't necessarily put a lot of time and effort into the marketing of those authors' books.
So what can an author do? And I know there's so many levels, and we can only go so deep on this particular call interview, Michael, but what are some things that an author can begin to do before they publish, after they publish, and then after they've published?
Yes, exactly. Well, I think the main thing to think about, as I alluded to in the previous section, is that it really is the being an author is you're in a business, you're creating a business, and so and I'm specifically speaking more today about nonfiction books, and I'm sorry if there are fiction writers out there, but that is what I represent. Anything in the nonfiction prescriptive how-to area. So it can be business or parenting or relationships or health. Those kinds of books are what we represent. And when you think about that, ultimately most of those books, there's a message. And that message is how to have a better relationship, how to build a better business, how to be healthier, how to be stronger. All of those prescriptive how-to messages all have a message. And so as you're building out your book and you're writing the book and you're thinking about this book, you have to think about what kinds of other things that you can sell that have higher margins in them. And there's an array of things people can do. They can have one-on-one coaching with people. They can have live events. They can have masterminds. They can have so many different kinds of programs where people can go deeper into the message. Books are kind of one-dimensional. It kind of is the thing that starts people down the path and gets people excited about a particular topic. But where people have real transformation in those types of books is in community, in support with the author, in video, all of the things that actually help move people in transformation. The book's a great starter piece, but ultimately if someone really wants to fix whatever the problem is, they need more of a program. So authors need to kind of think about their business in these stages, as the book's kind of the first stage, but then ultimately you want to bring them through to the next stage where you have a program or some kind of a coaching or consulting business or something where you're working either more one-on-one or more group with.
Okay, I think we lost Michael. Michael, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, you went dark there for a second. So
okay.
You said more support from the author where they're working one-on-one, whether it's through video, and then you kind of went dead.
Oh, okay, sorry. So basically, where they're going to have real transformation is when they're in community and in support with respect to working with the author and helping them to transform, where a book kind of is one-dimensional, and it will be more difficult if the reader's not in some kind of a community, some kind of a support system, some kind of an area where they actually have more help to help them transform or fix whatever problem is the book is addressing.
Okay, so when somebody is thinking about writing we're using nonfiction books as an example, so we'll use mine, What Would a Wise Woman Do? Questions to ask along the way. I know that when I first wrote the book, one of the things that you said to me was not necessarily what's my platform, but how am I going to build my platform? How am I going to take what I had for so many years from my tech days and get people to want to share with me what's going on. And one of the things we came up with was I began writing a workbook around my book. So is that some of the kind of things that you're talking about that my listeners, they're like, I wrote the book, I don't know what else to do. They could put together a workbook, whether it be a video course workbook with some PDFs or something else?
Yeah, absolutely. So any way that could kind of help fast track the learning process. So it could be a video series, it could be, as you said, a workbook, it could be PDFs with additional lessons, anything that's going to help people jump into the material of the book, either faster and in more depth. The challenge with the publishing industry these days, which is quite amazing with such an online world we live in, is that 95% of the time, the author does not know who buys their book.
I find that mind-blowing.
Yeah, so if they buy it at Amazon or in a bookstore in the airports or Barnes & Noble or independent bookstores, you don't know who buys your book. So you've done all of this work to write the book and find an agent and get it published. And, this could be years. It could have been your whole life. This message, most often for people in this space, is their whole life, whether they're a chiropractor or, a health coach or a weight loss person or a relationship person. They've spent their whole life grooming this message. They got their book out. The book's out in the bookstores. It's all ready to go. Then a reader comes along and buys the book, and they don't know who that person is. Now you've made $1.50 to $2.50 on a royalty, and you don't even know who that person is. How are you going to reach them? How are you going to help them? How are you going to take them deeper into the messages and the programs you have to offer if you don't know who that reader is? I mean, it's pretty antiquated, pretty old school for such an industry where you would think that you would have access to the people who are buying your books.
And I know that one of the things that you've been helping people with over a lot of years, and especially now, is getting and capturing that email. So what can people do, Michael?
So what we've been doing and what we've been building is deciding to do a trade in the marketplace for, again, the lowest margin tool in your toolbox, your book, for the email address. So basically we set up these free plus shipping funnels for people, and it basically, you trade the book in the marketplace for the email address. You build out a book bonus page on your website or on your landing page with your book plus a ton of bonuses, and you ask people to buy the book from you. Now, usually this is set up so that you kind of break even. You say it's a free book and it's $7.95 for shipping and handling. You get the book for $4 or $5. It costs you $3 or $4 to ship, and you break even. So where's the money in this, right? Well, the where it gets exciting is that the email address and the relationship to the person who actually bought your book is worth $12 to you annually. So it's actually worth 5 to 8 times the value of the actual book royalty. That's $1.50 to $2.50. So we do this exchange in the marketplace. Now you have them on your list. Now you know who's reading your book. Now you can love them up, and you can nurture them, and you can support them, and you can give them lots of free content so that they can go deeper into your message, and guess what? Want to work with you further because they're reading your book. You've shifted their consciousness. They understand this is something they need to fix or want to fix, and you bring them through a sequence that's really, as I said, very supportive and has a lot of content around your topic. And then ultimately, guess where they're heading towards? They're heading towards one of your higher margin programs. That could be $199, $299, $599. It can be any price point you want that to be, depending upon the genre you're in and the program you've created. So it's the way to really work with people and to help them transform versus selling these books out there. You don't know who buys the book, and that's the end of the relationship. And you made $1.50 or $2.50. Okay,
so you've set up a web page where you're going to do the free plus shipping for your book. Now, granted, the book's got to be a good book. It's got to be free of errors and all that other stuff. So we're assuming all of that, correct?
No, these books, this is your branding tool. They have to be very professional. And, I am more of a fan of what they call hybrid publishers these days, which is actually one of the publishers that published your book, Morgan James Publishing, than I am of a lot of the do-it-yourself self-publishing models. Now, there are great self-publishing service companies out there that I would recommend, but when someone doesn't have the skill set and they just pop on to Amazon to create their books, or Ingram Spark or any of these companies, and just go out there and try to do it them all themselves, I find that that the books, you can smell a self-published book a mile away, and the feel, just the way it's organized, you can tell that it's not been professionally done. So the book has to be professionally done. That is your branding tool. It would be like, back to our original discussion of having a yogurt shop, and then you walk in there and it's all dirty, and there's nobody working at the counter, and they only have one flavor, and this is your book is the first entry point for so many people into this message. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely has to be professionally done.
And I bring that up, Michael, only because I can't tell you, I could, because you get this all the time, I'm sure. I get copies of books from people all the time wanting me to help promote them, and I look at it and I go, this looks like something a 2-year-old made.
Yeah, well, I have over 500 queries a month that come to me in my inbox, people who want me to publish or agent their books, and I can tell within 15 seconds if the author has done a good job, knows what they're doing, understands the business. I'll have stuff that's in 20-point font, or it's just crazy what shows up in my inbox. So yeah, I totally get that. There's all different levels here. And again, back to our original point, what's it take to be a lawyer, a doctor, a CPA? You just can't put words on a page and think that you have a book that's going to be successful. This is absolutely a business that you have to roll up your sleeves and learn about and get into and spend money and build. It's a business. And that's, for me, one of the biggest challenges I see with authors is they just think because they have a good message and they can write that they're good, that's it, that they're going to sell lots of books. And there's so many more aspects to this business than just putting words on a page and having it, packaged or printed and going out there. These are big bills, and they're serious. And I've just seen so many authors lose so much money in this business because they didn't treat it as a business. And literally, people with 10,000 books in their garage because they got talked into printing that many copies and thought they could sell them. And yeah, it's just the stories that I've seen and the pain that I've seen with authors in this business has been excruciating. So if you take nothing else more from this call today, for me, from this show, is that you literally have to realize that this is a business. It's not just a book.
Okay. I love that, because we're going to go into the national news break shortly, and I think you really helped set the stage with the first half of the show, Michael, about there is a funnel, there is a marketing plan, a business plan that is something people can implement. They just have to be willing to do the work. And when we come back from the national news, Michael, I'd like to deeper dive into this whole idea of you've got the free plus shipping, you've got a book bonus page, and you're creating these upsells, but what does that really mean? And how does somebody begin to implement that? Because it sounds simple on the surface, right? But you and I both know it's not.
You're right.
And I know you're also going to share something before the end of the show on how some people can get some really good help from you directly as well. So everybody, we'll be right back with more from the incredible Michael Ebeling, my literary agent. He is just a bookmarker extraordinaire, if I can get that word out of my mouth today. We'll be right back with more from Michael Ebeling on Intel. Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you, as always, my favorite time of the week. We are deep into a conversation with my guest today, Michael Ebeling, founder of the Ebeling Agency, one of the top literary agencies. He was my literary agent, and he has taken on this role full force, where he believes every author should be able to sell their books, make money selling their books. It's not just about being published. It doesn't stop there. And he is determined to help you if you have a book that's in you, to make sure that your message gets out and that you're making money at it while you're doing it. Because as he said on the first half of the show, being an author is a business. And if you don't get that, your book's just not going to sell. Your message isn't going to get out. And I get asked frequently, Michael, from so many people, Laura, my book's not selling. What do I do? You know, my publisher said this would happen. And you shared so beautifully the first half of the show. Well, you know, you really got to treat it like a business. So how do people begin doing that?
Laura?
Yeah, can you hear me, Michael?
Yeah, just finish that last question. You cut out for a second.
Okay. How does an author begin treating it like a business? What are the things that they need to have in place and begin doing? Let's deep dive deeper into the whole concept that you presented the first half of the show.
Yeah, and let's be specific to, again, so we know what we're talking about here. Nonfiction prescriptive how-to authors really is where this business piece is. So anything in relationship, parenting, business, weight loss, psychology, anything in the how-to space, where they have to start is they have to start to think about how they're going to put together revenue-producing back-end products, things that they can actually make more than $1.50 or $2.50 for a book. A therapist may be wanting to bring more clients to their business, so they have written a book so they have more people come, more clients that they work with. A trainer may want to have more clients there. Now, that's all great and dandy. That's one-on-one work, but there are ways to actually scale that and to work with many people at a time. So really ultimately thinking about the transformation that your book provides for people and how to package that into something that has a lot higher margin than the book, which again is going to make you $1.50 to $2.50. You could probably make up to $3 or $4. If you're doing the self-publishing world, but when you put all your time and effort and work in there, you're not really making that much money. So really thinking about what it is and how I'm going to package my message that's in my book into programs that will really not only help transform people's lives with my message, but also make me money.
Okay, so I've written a book. It doesn't matter what the book is. Mine's What Would a Wise Woman Do? Questions Asked on Way. What are some things that would be the next step? You talked about the free plus shipping model, and a lot of people are afraid of that because they're like, I'm going to lose money. But what you say is, no, that's the key with these other revenue-producing items. How do you price those items? How do you sell them? How do you market that? I know I'm just throwing you like 30 billion questions, Michael.
Not a worry. I think I'm going to plug someone in this space. He's really the grandfather of online marketing. His name is Jeff Walker. He actually is published by the same publisher that you're published with, Morgan James Publishing. Product Launch Formula, and his book launch would be a really good read for anyone to kind of start this process. But basically, he had a day trading newsletter that he was sending out for folks who were trading stocks, and he realized how to write these newsletters to engage his readers and to inspire them and to indoctrinate, if you will, in a good way into his message. And it became so evident to him that if he used these techniques that he has in his book, that you really will engage people and move them towards I think it's a $2,000 product launch formula that he sells, and he sells a lot of them. He has live events. He's got LaunchCon, all these other things, but he started just like you and I and all these potential authors out there, just, with a small little email newsletter, and he hadn't even written a book yet, and, he started just, writing these little newsletters. So, you're going to see, as you study this, if you look at Tony Robbins or you look at Oprah, how they got big and how they became, so successful is they emulated. They copied other people that were in the space that they respected and honored and thought were delivering a good message that was similar to theirs, and they said on their websites, they said on their Twitter, their Facebook, they watched them, they got on their newsletters, they emulated what they were doing, and then of course the cream will rise to the top, and you'll start to see, okay, I can put together a 30-day program, I could do a one-on-one coaching, I could have a mastermind, I could do live events. There are many high-ticket offers or programs that you can produce, but it has to resonate with what your message is and how you can package it properly so that it has the most chance to help people transform.
Well, what if people are not familiar with you, right? I mean, Jeff Walker, for example, Tony Robbins, all of them, they have, the $2,000 programs. But what if you're somebody new and you're trying to build out, can you do a lower price program, something that seems more accessible to somebody perhaps who did your free plus shipping kind of thing? It's not immediately taking them to the 2,000. Maybe it's something lower price. How do you decide where these programs' price points need to be to gather your list?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So one of the pieces that we build out in our book marketing funnel trainings is that we are teaching people how to drive traffic to the free plus shipping model for free. And the way we're doing that is that off the back end of if someone buys, if someone pays the $7.95 for free shipping plus handling, and they get your book, which it should be at a break even for you, but let's say you spend $100 on Facebook ads to get those buyers. I'll give you a quick little math. So if it took you $100 on Facebook to get 100 people opted in to your book promotion with all the book bonuses, your free plus shipping bonus, and let's say of those 100 people that opted in, 10 people bought your book. So now again, the book is even exchange for you, so you break even on that, right? So now you're down $100 on the Facebook ads. You built your list by 100 people. You've sold 10 of your books, but you are down $100 on Facebook ads. How are you going to make that up? And what we teach people in the training is how to do what's called a one-click upsell. You've seen this many, many times in many different forms when you go buy a product, whether it's a nutritional supplement or maybe it's a book or maybe it's something. Immediately after that, they'll give you an option to buy something that's more expensive, and that actually is what we call a fast track into the training. So those products, to go to your original question, are around $49, and that helps. For our perspective, helps people jumpstart the message. There could be video content in there, to use your words earlier. We could have a workbook in there. We could have PDFs. We can have a lot of stuff that helps make the book less one-dimensional, helps extract the principles out faster, especially in books that, there's a lot of pain point. Let's say it's building a business, or let's have a better relationship, or be able to, be a better parent. There's a lot of pain in those messages, and people want to get going faster. So what we estimate is that out of the 10 people who buy that book, 2 people will buy your one-click upsell. So that is $100. So basically, you've paid for, you've basically broken even. You've built your list by 100 people. You've sold 10 of your books, so 10 people are reading your book. You've sold 2 of your one-click upsells, and you broke even. So you just built your list by $100 in one day, You have 10 people reading your book. They are all 100 of those people are going to be in a nice, nurturing email sequence that are heading towards back-end programs where now you're going to look at, do I have a $199 product, a $299, $399? Again, using the book as a fulcrum, engaging the reader, knowing who your reader is, making sure you have a relationship with your reader, and bringing them through to areas you can work with them more intimately.
Okay. It sounds so simple on the surface. And I know one of my biggest struggles over the years, and my listener struggles, and my clients' struggles that work with me on strategy, is the actual writing of those Facebook ads and the upsell pages and stuff. I had the honor of having somebody I've known for close to 25 years, Brian Kurtz, on the show. I don't know if you're familiar with Brian. He's been in the direct response marketing world forever, since stuff was mailed to your house. And he sold a lot of books for a lot of people that way. And his recent book is Over Deliver. He was just on the show. And he talks about this quite a bit, that you can have the best list in the world or no list, but what matters is how you write what you're sending to them. So how do you address that? Because so many authors, they're like, oh, I can just do this. I can do my free plus shipping. Once again, it's write it and they will come. But how do you write that? I mean, I know you're so good at it. You've done it for so many people, but the average person really doesn't even begin to know.
Absolutely. So, as I said, that resource that I had given you earlier, the Jeff Walker's book, there are 9 emotional triggers in there that help you to write engaging content. In the boot camp that I'll talk to you guys about a little later, that we're doing here in Boulder in February, everything is set up for success for the authors. The authors will walk away with a completely finished funnel in 3 days. We're going to give all the video script. We're going to give all of the Facebook ad script. We're going to put templates together. Our authors have spent tens of thousands of dollars testing these templates, putting these scripts together, finding out what converts best, and we're taking the best of all of those and having these templates ready for the authors that come to the event, so it's plug and play. So you're literally just taking your message, your images, your video, and you're plugging it into these templates that not only reside, on your landing page, but also help you basically just put everything together really, really simply. And our authors have spent all the money building these things out, so we've put them in for a plug-and-play method. So that's how the structure is set up, is that we realize that this is difficult, and so we're making it very, very easy for any of the authors that are going to come to our boot camp. So,
right, and not everybody can make it physically to a boot camp either as well, but I know it's well worth coming to. If I could fly with my ear issues, I would be on a plane tomorrow and go out there. How do people find out more about this, Mike? I just really want to make sure we get this talked about before the end of the show. I can tell already that people are really interested in the topic. They want to reach out to you. I don't want you so inundated that you can't get to people, but I know that's going to happen.
Not
such a hot topic. So what's the best way for people to get more information and go deep dive into this kind of book marketing that works? Yeah,
so there's a really nice video that we produced on a landing page that it'll be similar to a landing page that you guys would produce for your book funnel, and it's just bookmarketingfunnels.com, bookmarketingfunnels.com/video. So that's one way, bookmarketingfunnels.com/video. Or if you have specific questions and you want to reach out, I'm very available, and I will be happy to answer your questions. So you can just email me. It's Michael at my last name, which is Ebeling, EBE, agency.com. So Michael at Ebeling, Ebeling agency.com. And you can just go to our website. We also have a free publishing blueprint on the website that you can sign up for at ebelingagency.com, and however we can support you. Any questions you have, if you have anything going on in your world you want to reach out, I'm happy to help.
The publishing blueprint, what would be the key takeaway you'd want people to have? Because if they're even considering going to a boot camp or doing anything like this, there's work that they would need to do before they get there, right?
Absolutely. We there's so many of these raw live events, boot camps, things of this nature. And in order for our authors to be successful, there is definitely pre-work that we require, and we won't let people come unless they get the pre-work done, because when they do that 3-day boot camp, which, by the way, is February 19th, 20th, and 21st here in Boulder, Colorado, that we're personally not going to allow them to come in because we want them to be successful. We want them to walk away with a fully completed book funnel in those 3 days, and there's no way to do that in those 3 days if they don't do our pre-work. So the publishing blueprint is really an overview of all the different ways you can get your book to market. So it's actually called Publishing Made Easy Blueprint, and it's basically how to quickly publish your book and use it to build your wealth, build your business, build your author career. So we've tried to make that streamlined for folks, and again, that's on ebelingagency.com. That you can just go download that for free. It just helps people to chart all the various pathways that are very difficult. It's difficult to navigate these publishing waters sometimes, so we want to make it simple for people to look at all the different ways that they can bring their book out and how they can make money on it.
It's so true, because one of the things I remember the most, Michael, when I met you, and I had written my book proposal, I had some companies interested in publishing my book, and one of the things I said to myself was, I know I might not need an agent, but I wanted an agent because I wanted a guide. I wanted somebody that knew the business of publishing, which I did not know. And I remember you saying to me, I don't know if you remember this, but you said, you may not have the platform, Laura, but you get it. You get that this is a business. And I've taken that to heart in so many ways, and I'm so glad that you are stepping back in at this new level to help people, because those words you said to me when you took me on, even though I didn't have, a platform of 20, 100,000 people, gave me the confidence at that time to begin building a business funnel with the book.
Yeah, and it's because I have sold hundreds of books to different publishers, and almost every single one of my authors have come back to me and said, Michael, the publisher just didn't do enough for me. The publisher didn't help me market my book. I actually, and you said to step back into this market, I actually for 3 or 4 years in good consciousness could not sell a book to a traditional publisher. I was tired of the promises. I was tired of them giving false hope to all these authors. And ultimately, what really gets kind of crazy, and we don't need to get caught up in the weeds here, but it takes 2 to 2.5 years for the book to come out. They don't do anything to help you market it, and then ultimately they own your IP, they own your copyright, they own every word in your book. They buy your book. That's theirs. And so if you really want to do programs and you really want to help people transform, you can't take the content that's in the book and put it into your programs because they own it. So I was just very disenchanted with the whole process, and I was not willing to put people through, or my authors through that again, until I had a fix. And I've now have that fix, and I'm in a situation now where I have authors selling 25,000 copies of their book in year 7, 8, and 9 each year, and building their list, to 150, 200,000 people, and having very high-end back-end programs, $800 programs, and transforming and scaling their message. So I'm happy to be back here with something that I can feel good about, and not wince when I wonder if the publisher is really going to do anything to help these authors. Ultimately, my long-term goal here is to take the power back for the author, to empower authors to take their message and spread it, knowing that they basically are the ones that are running their own business, and it's not, they're not in this place of false hope or giving away all the power to the publisher.
So it doesn't matter if their book is about to come out or their book came out 7 years ago. This work that you're doing, the Book Funnel Boot Camp, is February 19th, 20th, and 21st, you said?
Yes.
Okay, and since this does go to podcast, if somebody happens to be listening to this show after that date, they should still reach out to Michael at ebelingagency.com, and I'll have all of that stuff up on the podcast information as well. What would be the first thing you would want somebody to do if they're thinking about doing your boot camp? It's application only, right?
It is application only. You can watch the video. It's a 3-minute video there, and there's an application process. It's a $100 completely refundable application. We do this for a couple of reasons. One, because we want to make sure that where someone's at, we can actually help them. And that's very, very important. We also want to make sure that they would be a good fit for the people that are already coming and the people that will be in the room. We want people that are very, team-oriented and want to work with each other. And this is a very intimate event for 3 days, so we want to make sure to vet out, everyone that's coming and make sure that it's a good message. Like, for instance, it wouldn't be a good message, most likely, if it was, a book, a history or memoir or fiction, something like that. So, and then what happens once they put the $100 application fee down is I'll jump on a call with them and we'll go through their process and see, about their book and where they're at and if this is a good fit. And if it is, then they're in. If it's not a good fit, then we'll just refund the $100. But we want to make sure people are committed, understand this is a business, and are willing to roll up their sleeves and get down and work here.
Yeah, I mean, it really sounds like one of those intensives, but that when you walk away with it, you know everything that you need to do. You've got the copy, you've got the plan. But what happens after they leave there, Michael?
Well, and in fact, their whole book funnel will be built in those 3 days. They'll literally be turning on traffic to their book funnel after that fact. So, so the next thing they would be doing, because the final day, there's 3 days in the event. The first day is all about the book offer and getting everything together with all the bonuses and the video, and the next day 2 is all about creating the book funnel itself with the one-click upsell we talked about earlier, and then the final day is all teaching about putting together Facebook ads and how to scale those Facebook ads and drive those to your free plus shipping offer. So, so basically once you walk away, and again, there will be pre-work. We will definitely be asking people to do a lot of work on the front end to make sure that this 3-day event is successful for them, because it doesn't do us any good or them any good if they walk away and they don't have a completed funnel. So in those 3 days, they'll have that funnel, and then basically once they leave, they're turning on their traffic for Facebook and building their email list. And by the way, I don't know if I said that. I think I did earlier. But an email address, yes, is worth $12 to you annually. So, it doesn't take much to be in a situation where you're making $5 and $10 and $20 and $50,000, $100,000 a year when you're building that email list at 100 people a day. So it's a very big asset. And even if you don't have your own program right away, let's say for you instance, let's say you had built a list of 20,000 in your space. You can always mail for someone else that you find that their message resonates with you. So another business person or someone that is, in empowering women, you can mail for a program they have, even if you don't have one, and they will do what they call affiliate marketing, and there's money there that they would give you for sharing about their event. So there's a lot of ways, but ultimately building an email list is where you're really going to scale your business fast. Okay,
and Michael, best way for people to reach out to you and get help?
So the bookmarketingfunnels.com/video, or just email me at Michael at Ebeling Agency, EBELING agency.com.
I love it. I mean, you shared so much great information. I want to thank you for being on the show with me, Michael.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for everybody out there, and I hope to hear from you.
Everybody, remember, the right questions can change your life, including questions about how to sell more books. So have a great day, everybody. Keep asking questions. Reach out to me if I can help you in any way to build an amazing 2020 for you. Have a great day, everyone.
You've been listening to It's All About the Questions, starring Laura Stewart. Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.